Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're just going to wait a couple of extra minutes for the last couple of attendees to join, and we'll begin. Just for the record, the webinar will probably last about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, let's begin. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Smishing webinar. Hopefully, you can all see the slides and can actually hear me. If that's not the case, now is the best time to mention any technical issues. And once again, just to let everyone know, this webinar will last approximately 20 or 30 minutes maximum. Now, before I begin, I would like to start with a small introduction, since some of you probably were not lucky enough to meet me. My name is Roman Mironov. I'm also known as your friendly neighborhood Russian hacker. Apologies for the accent. I'm trying my best to hide it. I've been working with SecOne for over 6 years, and I'm currently one of the team leaders. My hobbies include fiddling with the latest electronics and gadgets, and I have pretty much everything, starting from VR headsets to drones to 3D printers. I also play a bunch of music instruments, but I'm not going to torture you with that today. Instead, I would like to talk about my other favorite hobby, which is making people do things using social engineering techniques, including giving me their passwords. Now, first of all, what really is social engineering? According to Google, social engineering is a psychological manipulation of people, resulting in them performing actions or divulging confidential information. Or, in simple terms, it's the art of exploiting human psychology. You're probably aware of malicious actors utilizing these techniques to compromise data, such as phishing, spear phishing, whaling. But what's common across these techniques is that they all deliver the payload via email, and email is just one of many mediums. In the past couple of years, the use of mobile devices to access and browse the internet and various computing applications have been commonplace, be it for business or personal use, and coupled with numerous applications, mobile devices present a myriad of cybersecurity challenges and are probably a nightmare for your IT department. In fact, a research and advisory firm called Gartner has done research on the subject of what is more efficient in delivering information to users, comparing emails and text messages, and the results were astonishing. Turns out 98% of text messages are read and 45% are responded to. And this is compared to email, where only 20% of messages are read and 6% are responded to. Most likely, a lot of you think that it would be very difficult for a hacker to get your mobile phone number. But in reality, it's actually way easier to get a phone number than an email address. The reason for that is that there is a finite number of options with phone numbers. For example, a UK number consists out of just 11 digits, whereas an email can be any size. It is not limited to just numbers and can actually contain letters and special characters on top of just numbers. On top of that, there have been numerous leaks from social media websites, including the recent ones from Facebook, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, where a large number of users had their mobile numbers attached to their profiles. And in my personal opinion, I believe it's fair to assume that if you have a digital identity, most likely all details about it are already available somewhere publicly or on the dark web market. In particular, I find the recent Facebook leak especially relevant to this discussion, which has been all over the news this year. As you remember, I mentioned that mobile numbers can be potentially guessed, and there is a limited number of them, and this is exactly what hackers exploited in this leak. So as it turns out, Facebook had an exposed API where you could submit a mobile phone number, and Facebook would check if this number matches with an existing user. And if it does, it would provide you with data about the user, including their Facebook ID, their full name, their location, birth dates, in some cases emails, and in all cases phone numbers, since these are actually being used to identify the users. So the attackers discovered this API and abused it by giving every possible phone number combination, and as a result, recovered details of over 500 million user accounts. What's even worse is that hackers actually leaked this data to the internet, and it is now available publicly, and anyone can access it. Obviously, I was curious enough to take a look at the data myself, and here is a snapshot of it. In this particular example, I searched for users who included our beloved Clarinet company in their profile, which gave me dozens of user accounts. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information disclosed, including their full names, phone numbers, where they work, and even if they are in a relationship in some cases. In fact, Clarinet are actually currently working on a project where we'll publicly release a web page where you will be able to check if your phone number is listed in this leak. So keep an eye out for that. It should come out within the next couple of months. What I find absolutely hilarious, though, is that Mark Zuckerberg's account details are also in this leak, including his personal phone number. Apparently, he had to change his number after this leak because he was bombarded by journalists with requests to comment on this leak. As you can see, phone numbers can be easily identified. Additionally, people are often less watchful for suspicious messages on their phones than on their computers. They're more likely to open a potential suspicious text message than an email. Finally, these personal devices generally lack the type of security available on corporate PCs, and as a result, Smishing was born, a social engineering attack that uses text messages to deceive victims. And according to research done by Proofpoint, 61% of organizations have already faced smishing in 2020, and this number will most likely increase in 2021. What helps with these attacks to be specifically successful is that SMS is a very old technology and is pretty insecure. It doesn't support any certificate-based verification of message origins, and as a result, the sender information can be easily spoofed. In fact, there's open source tools that already are available on sites like GitHub that help spoofing sender information. There's a lot of opportunity for abuse, and on this slide, you can actually see some example screenshots given by the developers of one of these tools. And the example he suggests is sending a message to your friend or an enemy, pretending to be their ex-girlfriend saying that she's pregnant, or a school sending a message to everyone saying that classes are canceled. Pretty ridiculous. But something ironic happened while I was working on this presentation. I actually received a real smishing text pretending to be PayPal saying that my account has been suspended and I need to verify myself. So as you can see on this example screenshot, it came from the real PayPal number, and the message above is actually a real PayPal message, while the message below is the smishing text coming from the same number. So obviously, I was very interested in finding out how this attack works. So I opened the suspicious verify-my-pp.info website in an isolated virtual machine and observed the scam happening in front of my eyes. It was a typical clone of a PayPal login page asking for all sorts of personal and bank details. But after poking the scammer's website for a while, I actually noticed that their logs folder was publicly available, and anyone could view this information entered on the website. Luckily, all entries, or at least almost all entries, were from people realizing that this is a scam, and most of them just entered really offensive things about the scammer's mother instead of real personal information. Except for one entry. One of them, unfortunately, contained personal details from an old lady born in 1942 from UK called Celia. Now, this is a screenshot of the information stored on that scammer's website, and as you can see, it pretty much had anything a scammer could dream of, including addresses, credit card details, bank details, passwords, literally everything. Luckily, it also included her phone number, so I actually gave her a call and explained that she fell for a scam. And although it sounded like she was having a proper panic attack, she managed to explain to me that she already contacted her bank account and her credit card was already blocked by that sign. So how do we stop this measures? You can obviously try what I've done and try to hack the hackers, but that's not really feasible. You can also report the website, for example, to Google Safe Browsing, and the screenshot displayed on this slide shows the results of this, as you can see. Now the Verify My PP website shows a warning message to internet users stating that the website is deceptive. You can also report it to Who Is Abuse emails, which disables the domain, and notify it to the National Cybersecurity Center, the NCSC, who apparently as of 31st of March 2021 already stopped 41,000 scams and removed 81,000 URLs. But reporting and removing a website takes time. With this particular example, it took me over 6 hours to get the website marked as deceptive. So obviously, the best way to achieve results is via security awareness training. So to help our customers with this type of attacks, we have created a new product, Controlled Smishing Simulation, based on our phishing methodologies, but with new tools that add the ability to deliver phishing templates via SMS. Now, some of you have provided your mobile phone numbers for this live demo. So dear listeners, I'm going to send you an example smishing SMS that we have prepared for this webinar to get you an opportunity to see how it feels to be a victim of a smishing attack without any of the consequences. Please note though that the example text message will be sent only to those participants who have submitted a UK mobile number, since this is what we support at the moment. And mind you, there is nothing malicious on the website, so feel free to open the link, get the full user experience. You can even enter your real password. Promise I'm not actually capturing them in this case. While I'm doing that, in the meantime, while I'm quickly sending the example smishing SMS, here is a distraction video of my cat for you to enjoy. Hopefully, you will receive the text messages before this video ends. So please enjoy. Apologies, this will only take an extra minute or so. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed this little distraction and the SMS have been delivered to you, or if not, they should be delivered within. Hello? I think there was some sort of an issue. I think my connection is disconnected. Anyways, as I said, hopefully you have received the text messages. If not, they should be delivered within 30 minutes or so. So for those of you who have not received an example SMS yet, or have not submitted your mobile phone number, this is how it will look like. You will receive a text message coming from NHS UK, and actually I just received my text message. So yeah, you'll receive a text message coming from NHS UK. This won't be just a contact number saved in your number address book. This will actually come from NHS UK, and it will state that, dear first name, last name, you may be eligible for a coronavirus vaccine. Use this link to check your eligibility. This will lead you to a website called hosted on nhs.gb.net. It will actually be a clone of a real NHS webpage, and the page will say that NHS is partnering with UK businesses and is offering COVID-19 vaccinations to employees who are most at risk, and that users can utilize the service to check if they're eligible for their first or second coronavirus vaccine, sponsored by your company. This will ask them to enter their email, their password that will be pre-populated with some of the information, including their company name and their actual real name. Once they submit this information, they will be redirected to a page which will state that it's checking their eligibility for the vaccine and show a loading bar. Eventually, the loading bar will disappear and state that, unfortunately, the user is not eligible at this time, and redirect the users to the real NHS website from the Smishing NHSGB.net website. Obviously, it doesn't really need to be about coronavirus or vaccines, because hopefully it's not as applicable at this time, because hopefully most of you are already vaccinated. But as I said, the number can be spoofed, and we can pretend to be pretty much anyone, your mailman, your IT support, or maybe even your CEO. Here's an example of what we prepared for one of our other customers. The pretext was that the company is migrating their two-factor authentication system, and the users need to log in and migrate their accounts by entering their username and password and pressing the shiny migrate button. Once they've submitted their credentials and pressed the button, the app would say that the account has been successfully migrated. So the template can be pretty much anything. It can be about free vouchers, it can be about tax returns, new service announcements, or maybe updates to existing services. And yeah, as a result of such assessments, we gather quite a lot of information, which we use to compile our final report, and it would contain all sorts of details, including which users ignored the smishing SMS, which users opened the smishing URL but did not submit data, which users submitted their passwords, what were the devices and user agents, as in which browsers were used. We would perform password analysis of the entered credentials, and would also supply a breakdown by department, and all sorts of other statistics as well. So not only this helps you train your employees and prepare them for such attacks, it also narrows down as to which particular users or departments need additional training. So how do you actually not get caught by a smishing attack when it looks so real? Obviously, you can use spam blocking features on your device, but these are not really a silver bullet, and attackers always find a way to bypass these. So I wouldn't rely on your device catching everything. You have to be extremely careful when receiving urgent alerts, because attackers expect you to drop your guard while seeing such messages. And always make sure you always confirm that the sender is legitimate. However, never call back the phone number associated with the SMS. So do the confirmation via different means. For example, if it's a bank, they might have multiple phone numbers you can call. Avoid clicking on unknown links, and obviously report all smishing attacks. And that's it, folks. Any questions? I believe you have an opportunity to use GoToWebinar to ask any questions you have, and hopefully I'll be able to answer those.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for that presentation there, Roman. That was so interesting. I found it really interesting. So yeah, we have had a few questions come in, but feel free at the moment to answer any questions, to ask any questions, apologies for that, and we'll be sure to answer them for you. So yeah, let me ask the first question that's come through here. So when you're putting together a smishing assessment, how realistic do you make the messages and web pages? Do you need to leave clues that it's a scam to allow employees to spot and report them?
Good question. So typically, we try to make our assessments look similar to a real smishing attack. So we use the same tools, the same techniques the attackers utilize. However, each of these attacks actually leave plenty of clues that should be spotted by a vigilant employee. For example, in the case of the NHS coronavirus vaccine pretext, your employees hopefully will ask, why would my company present coronavirus vaccines? And there's plenty of other clues, such as the domain. So essentially, we're trying to make the assessment look exactly as attackers would utilize, but there will be things to spot.
Great, thank you for that, Roman. Another question that we've also had in is, how long does it take to deliver a smishing assessment?
So typically, these assessments last 3 days, with the first day being dedicated to setting up the smishing platform. We also perform analysis of what sort of services your employees use so that we have a good pretext, and we generate our phishing platform around things that are familiar to your employees. The second day would be used to actually deliver the smishing SMS and to make sure that everything is going according to plan. And the third day is used for reporting, which is when we just gather all the results and prepare our report to be delivered to you.
Great, thank you for that, Roman. And then another question we've had in also, within a smishing assessment, what happens if someone spots that it's a smishing message and tells their colleagues to avoid it? Does that mean that the exercise has failed?
Not really. If somebody actually reports a smishing attack, this is actually a good thing. Not only it really proves that your employees are vigilant, it also gives you an opportunity to see how your IT department reacts. So we get an opportunity to see what happens after an incident has been reported. Will your IT department react accordingly? And will anyone actually still fall for the attack once IT responds to the incident?
Okay, that's great. And then lastly, another question we've had in is, for the passwords, do you verify they're the actual ones or just that a value was supplied?
No, we do not verify if the passwords are actually correct. This would be more applicable to a red teaming engagement where we actually try to compromise user accounts. In this case, we are only gathering the passwords for statistical purposes. We don't really do anything with them, and they are safely disposed after the assessment is finished.
Okay, great. Currently, that is all the questions we've had today for today's webinar. So I just want to close off by saying thank you so much, Roman, for that presentation again. Please, anyone who's attended this webinar, do get in touch after. If you have anything else that you've heard you want to discuss with us, we'll be available throughout the rest of the day if you do want to chat. However, this doesn't have to be the end of the conversation. We'll be around and we'll make someone available for you. We also have a quick survey at the end that we would love you to get involved in, just to answer a few questions. We love to hear from you and get your feedback as well. And yeah, just thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found the presentation and the live SMS really interesting and useful. Look out for more webinars that we've got over the coming weeks too. They're also really good ones. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Roman, again. We all hope you have a lovely day. So yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
everyone.
so much.
Thank you for your attendance, and see you next time. Goodbye.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.